So I am going to start reading this book. So start with the unit number 1, ecology. Earth is the only known planet with life. Millions of species live on Earth. These living organisms depend on each other in one or the other way. They also interact with their non-living environment. The study of interrelationship between organisms and their environment is called ecology. Oxygen cycle. Oxygen plays an essential role in the existence of life on Earth. Few billion years ago, there was no pre-molecular oxygen in the atmosphere. Today, Earth's atmosphere is 21% oxygen, which is largely product of photosynthesis carried out by plants. Plants use carbon dioxide to make food, releasing oxygen is a byproduct. Both animals and plants use oxygen and their respiration process to get energy. Carbon cycle. Carbon is constantly being removed from and released into the environment. It is in the form of carbon dioxide. The amount of carbon dioxide in atmosphere is 4%. Plants absorb this carbon in the form of organic compounds when they feed on other plants and other animals. The respiration process in both animals and plants releases carbon dioxide back to the environment. A chemical reaction between substances in oxygen in which carbon dioxide, heat, and light is produced is called a combustion reaction. Animal and plant bodies buried under earth crust were converted into fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas. The combustion of fossil fuels in factories, automobiles, and houses, adding up carbon dioxide and atmosphere rapidly. So the oxygen cycle is interconnected with the carbon cycle. Oxygen is produced in photosynthesis and carbon dioxide is produced in respiration. Both these processes maintain the level of these gases in the range to sustain life. Global warming. The increase in the average temperature of the earth is called global warming. The global temperature has been increased about 1 degree centigrade in the last 100 years. Causes. Human population growth is a major contributor to global warming due to the increase in human population. The utilization of natural resources and the waste generated from the use of these resources has been increased massively. Excessive use of fossil fuels and deforestation are leading causes of global warming. The burning of fossil fuels such as coal, gas, and oil is adding carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide is a leading greenhouse gas. It traps heat and radiation. Forestation is the unplanned removal of trees on large scale which converts fossil to non-forest land. Forests are removed to meet the increased demand for N material. Major causes of deforestation are urban development and urbanization. Infrastructure development like roads, rail tracks, airports, timber and fiber and requirement route for fuel. Interactions in ecosystem. In ecosystem, living organisms interact with each other in different ways. Most common interactions are competition, predation, and symbiosis. Competition occurs when living organisms have to use common resources for their survival. Even members of the same species compete with each other for the same some resources. Animals compete for food, water, and space to live. Plants compete for light, water, minerals, and roots. Face predation. In predation, one organism attacks, actively kills, and feeds other organism. One which attacks and kills the other is called predator. Prey is the animal that is hunted and killed by the predator for food. Predator in one case can be prey in another case. Some plants are carnivores as they prey upon insects and other small animals to fulfill their nitrogen deficiency. Feature plant and Venus trap. Symbiosis. Member of two different species live together in at least one genus from the other. Symbiosis is of three types. Parasitism is the association in which one member gets benefit and causes some harm to the other member, e.g., a mosquito, liver flea, leech, and many types of bacteria. Mutualism. You may have observed butterflies and honeybees and flowered field of mustard. You name the interaction between insects and plants having brightly colored flowers. Symbiotic interaction in which both members get benefits is called mutualism. Example given: microorganism in the gut of herbivores help to digest cellulose and get food and shelter and return. Some bacteria live in intestine of man. They get food and provide us with the same vitamins in return. Commensalism. In this type of interaction, one partner gets benefit without any benefit or harm to other organism. For example, a bird building nest on tree, small plants, epiphytes, which grow large trees, parse space to get better light flow of energy in an ecosystem, a system formed by an interaction of living organisms among each other and with their non-living environment is called ecosystem. The living organism in the ecosystem are called producers, consumers, and decomposers. Producers have the ability to use light energy to produce food during photosynthesis. Plants and algae are producers of the ecosystem. Consumers are those who obtain energy by feeding on another organism. All animals are consumers. Herbivores are primary consumers. They feed on green plants. Secondary and tertiary consumers are other animals, and so they are called carnivores. Decomposer obtain energy by breaking down dead organisms in extractive products. Fungi and bacteria are examples of decomposers. The feeding relationship between organisms and can be represented in a food chain. A food chain is a series of organisms through which energy is transferred in the form of food. However, in the ecosystem, food chains are interlinked to form food web. A lot of energy is lost to the environment as food is transferred from one level to the next in a food chain. Energy may be lost to the environment as heat during respiration at each level is uneaten food body parts through food material which remains undigested and through waste product excreted by consumer, for example urea. More and more energy is lost as we go down the food chain. The total energy is the highest in the producer level and lowest at the last level. The total energy and the various levels of a food chain can be represented in the form of pyramid. This is called the pyramid of energy. The pyramid of energy is always broad at the base and narrow at the top. Changes in ecosystem and its apex. Changes in water supply. Water is important for life. All forms of life directly depends on water availability. Aquatic life on Earth is 90% of the total life on Earth. Forests, wetlands, and grasslands are critical part of the global water cycle. However, ecosystems are affected by floods and drought. Human impact on ecosystem has disturbed natural water cycle. This wise use of water and treatment of sewage water can have positive effect on ecosystem. Introduction of new population. Living organisms are adapted to their environment. Introduced species are new organisms brought into an ecological environment. If introduced species cannot adapt to new environment, it will not survive. However, if that new species find a way to survive, it affects all other species already living there. It may result in death of one or more native species. With the passage of time, ecosystem will reach a new equilibrium. Hunting. Nature has a delicate balance and hunting by human can have impact on that natural balance. It is one of the causes of species extinction. A predator hunted, their prey will increase in number, the decrease in the size of the one population and increase the other will change the ecosystem greatly. Migration. Sometimes animals migrate from one area to another to get better food sources. Migration may alter the structure of already settled population. Positive impacts of human on ecosystem. A balanced ecosystem ensures that human beings have access to clean air, water, and fertile land for agriculture to save our planet and diverse ecosystem. A number of steps are being taken. Reforestation is the plantation of trees where already existing forest has been destroyed by some cause. It is very important as trees increase toxic gases from the surrounding forest or natural carbon sink. Plant forests can reduce global warming by decreasing greenhouse gases from air. Reforestation is a solution of stopping soil erosion to maintain land quality. Forests support other plants and animal species, thus maintaining ecosystem. Afforestation is plants a forest on land where was no forest before. It was very useful to increase forest land in Pakistan as we have very low fast forest coverage. Control of pollution. The addition of harmful substances in the environment is called pollution. The unjustified use of resources has damaged environment badly. Major pollution causing substances are harmful gases and dust from factories, pollutants from power stations and automobile sewage from urban areas, and use of plastic. Air and water pollution has badly affected all forms of life. However, many steps are being taken to control pollution, which will ultimately help to conserve endangered species. Control of air pollution. The shift on clean energy sources will help reduce air pollution and reverse effects on the environment. The use of wind power station and solar energy is replacing coal and oil power station. Electrical vehicles are becoming popular day by day. Control of water pollution. Protection of water clean resources is a challenge. Water conservation, treatment of sewage from homes and industries, and less use of plastics are key steps to control water pollution. Thus, more clean water will be available to keep ecosystem flourishing. Conservation of endangered species, plants and animals maintain the health of an ecosystem. When a species becomes endangered, it is a sign that ecosystem is out of balance. Government, non-governmental organizations, local communities and individuals work together to contribute towards growing the population of endangered species. The awareness campaign aimed to getting more people involved in conservation work with very effective way for species conservation. And this is the end of chapter number. Unit number 2 started. Human nervous system. Various organs of human body play their role as and when required. These organs perform their duties in a precise way in harmony with each other. For example, heart rate and breathing increase during exercise to meet energy requirement of the muscle. However, organs cannot work properly by themselves. They require some signal from proper functioning. Therefore, nervous system coordinates and regulates all the functions of the body. Neuron. Nervous system made up of cells called neurons. Neurons conduct messages in the form of electrical signals called neuroimpulses. Dendrites are fibers of neurons which transmit neuroimpulses to the cell body. Cell body is the thick part of neuron which has nucleus and most of the cytoplasm. Axon is the neuron fiber which transmit neuroimpulses away from cell body. Types of neuron are sensory neuron, motor neurons, and interneurons. Sensory neurons transmit neuroimpulses from receptor to the central nervous system. Motor neurons transmit neuroimpulses from the central nervous system to the effectors. Interneurons are neurons of the central nervous system. They transmit neuroimpulses from sensory neurons to the motor neurons. Parts of the human nervous system. Human body has very fast, precise method of communication in the form of nervous system. The human nervous system can be divided into two parts: central nervous system consisting of brain and spinal cord, the peripheral nervous system consisting of nerves which originate from brain called cranial nerves, and spinal cord spinal nerves. Working of nervous system. Different stimuli are detected by receptor organs. This information conveyed to central nervous system through sensory neurons. The CNS analyzes the stimulus and take decision through the motor neurons. CNS order the effectors to act accordingly. Brain is protected in human skull. It is divided into three main parts: forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain. Forebrain further consists of cerebellum, thalamus, and hypothalamus. Cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. Human cerebrum is the most advanced in all elements. It is divided into right and left hemispheres. Cerebrum is the site of conscious, our sense of self, memory, intelligence, learning, reasoning, personality, emotion, and will. Thalamus plays critical role in the processing of perception. It receives sensory information from the receptor organ and sends them to the specific part of cerebrum. Hypothalamus regulates body temperature, appetite, water balance, and blood pressure. It has central to central mood and emotions such as regression, anger, fear, and pleasure. Midbrain is reduced in human. It serves a link between forebrain and midbrain. It also controls the reflex movements of the eye cycle. Hindbrain consists of cerebellum, pons, and medulla oblongata. Cerebellum is concerned with the control and precision of all movements involving voluntary muscles. Pons is a bridge between cerebellum and other parts of the brain. Medulla oblongata controls involuntary activities like midbrain, heart rate, breathing rate, swallowing, vomiting, salivation, cupping, teething. Note: brain stem is the posterior part of the brain consisting of three midbrain bones and medulla oblongata. It regulates most of the body automatic function, heart rate, breathing rate, and blood pressure. Spinal cord is a cylinder of nervous tissues running from the basis of the brain down to the back. It is protected by backbone. Brain links the most of the body parts through spinal cord. Many reflexes are controlled by spinal cord. Withdrawal of hand on touching hot objects. Spinal cord has a central butterfly-shaped area called gray matter in outer to its white matter. On the other hand, brain has outer gray matter and white matter to its center. Gray matter has cell bodies of neuron and non-myelinated fibers. The white matter has myelinated fibers. Peripheral nervous system. It is a system of nerves which link between body parts with brain and spinal cord. A nerve contains many fibers. Absence in neurons, motor neurons are both protected in a sheet of connective tissues. Cranial nerves. These nerves originate from brain. Humans have 12 pairs of cranial nerves. Spinal nerves. These nerves originate from spinal cord. There are 31 pairs of spinal nerves in humans. Voluntary and involuntary actions, activities that are performed willingly are called voluntary. On the other hand, involuntary actions are not under conscious control. Reflex actions, a sudden response to a specific stimulus without conscious control, is called a reflex action. A common example of reflex action is the withdrawal of hand on touching a hot object. What happens in your mouth when you smell, look, think of delicious food within empty stomach? Have you ever noticed that shape and size of inner dark region of your eye change? What happens to the size of the inner dark region, pupil of your eyes, when you go to bright light? Reflex arc. Reflex arc is a pathway on which nerve impulses travel from receptor to effector. The sequence of the path of nerve impulses in the reflexes are is under sense organ, sensory neuron, interneuron, motor neuron, effector muscle. Human nervous system reflex action time. Activities to keep your brain healthy. Staying healthy is not only about exercising your body but about exercising your brain as well. Your brain needs activity to stay healthy, to preserve memory. Here are some activities that can you help your brain sharp. Learn, never stop learning. Find ways to engage and with others and educate yourself. Answer question. Put yourself in situation where you are required to think on your feet. Try something new. Try new things that require your brain to learn and grow. Debate without getting angry. A healthy debate forces you to think. Exercise. Any form of exercise increases blood flow to the brain and makes your brain more efficient. Reduce stress. Do stress relieving activities like painting, offering prayer, yoga, mountain hiking, field game, etc. Notice the details. Take the time to observe the sights or sounds around you. Then tells others about them. Redecorate, paint a wall in your home, rearrange your furniture, and hang new pictures. So let's start chapter number 3: variations, heredity, and cell division. Genetics. Since thousands of years, humans understood that certain physical characteristics could be transmitted from one generation to another. Traits such as eye color, skin color, hair, and hair texture are passed from parents to offspring. Each individual has some features. Genetics is a field of biology that studies how traits are passed from parents to their offspring. The passing of traits to next generation is known as heredity. Therefore, genetics is the study of heredity. Variations. Two individuals produced sexually are never genetically identical. Variations or differences in traits between individuals of the same species. Variations within a species are essential of the survival. Species in sexually producing organisms. Genetically variations are caused by crossing over mutations. Environmental factors such as factors such cause variation include diet, temperature, humidity. Types of variations. Some types of variations have few distinct forms and are called discontinuous variation, like pre or attached earlobes in blood groups. On the other hand, the variation which have wide range of types from one extreme to other are called continuous variations, which is human height and skin color. Adaptations. Adaptation is the mechanism by which a species becomes fit to environment. Individuals of a species may differ in many traits. Some may be larger, higher, fight up infections better or have smaller ears. Some of these traits provide competitive advantage like speed, strength, or attractiveness. More adaptive characters mean better survival rates, so well adapted organisms live longer chance get chance to produce more offspring and the species as a whole becomes successful. An adaptation can be structural, meaning it is physical part of the organism. An adaptation can also be behavioral, affecting the way an organism responds to its environment. An example of a structural adaptation is the way some plants have adapted to life in dry and hot deserts. Such plants store water in their short, thick stem and leaves, e.g. cactus. Seasonal migration is an example of the behavioral adaptation. Many birds migrate from Siberia to Pakistan and some other countries to avoid extreme cold. Similarly, many plants shed their leaves in winter to prevent water loss. Chromosomes and DNA. Life depends on the ability of cells to store and transfer its genetic information to the next generation. This ability of cell resides its nucleus in it. It has chromosomes. Each kind of organism has a specific number of chromosomes. The chromosomes occur in pairs. Humans have 26 pairs of chromosomes in all body cells. Chromosomes are made up of protein and DNA. Protein fold and pack DNA in the chromosome. DNA is responsible for the transmission of hereditary information from one generation to the next. DNA on the chromosome form genes. Genes control traits of organisms like skin color, height, blood groups, and human chromosomes carry these genes to next generation when cell divides. Chemical composition of DNA. DNA is the hereditary material of all living organisms. It made up small units called nucleotides. Each nucleotide consists of three components. These are 5 carbon sugar called deoxyribose. Nitrogen contains a basis phosphate group. There are four types of nitrogen: adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. The type of nucleotide depends on the type of nitrogenous base. So there are four types of nucleotides which depends on the types of nitrogenous base. Many nucleotides join in a specific order to form a polynucleotide strain. Two polynucleotide strains are coiled around each other in a manner of spiral ladder to form DNA molecule in a DNA molecule. Adenine in one strain form a link with thymine in the opposite strain. Similarly, guanine pairs with cytosine. Moving on to cell division, the life of each sexually produced organism starts from a single cell called zygote. The continuous process of cell division produces high number of cells which change into different types of to form tissues and organs of the organism. In another, the human body has trillion of cells which are all produced from zygote by the process of cell division. Cell division has two types, mitosis and meiosis. Mitosis, a parent cell divide to produce two identical daughter cells. Both daughter cells have the same number of chromosomes as in the parent cell. Growth, development, healing upon generation, and asexual reproduction takes place through mitosis. Before the start of mitosis, the cell replicate itself. DNA and to entire to produce an extra copy of each chromosome. And first the nucleus divides into nuclei and then cytokinesis takes place. The division of nucleus takes place in a four-phase: prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. Before the start of cell division, cell replicates its DNA, so cell contains two copies of entire DNA for each daughter cell. Prophase, DNA is coiled up tightly so chromosome become visible. As DNA is already replicated, each chromosome has two chromatids attached to its center. Nuclear membrane disappears and spindle fibers begin to form. Metaphase, all chromosomes are aligned in the center of the cell and are attached themselves to spindle fibers by their centromeres. Anaphase, each centromere splits. The separated chromatids are folded to the opposite folds of the cell. Telophase, chromosomes uncoil, become long and thin. Nuclear membrane appear around the nucleus, forming two new nuclei. Cytokinesis, cytoplasma divide to and the two newly formed daughter cells separate from each other. Meiosis takes place to produce reproductive cells called gametes, eggs, and sperms. For sexually reproducing organisms, zygote is formed by the fusion of a sperm with an egg. This means egg and sperm must have half the number of chromosomes as compared to the normal body cell. Meiosis is a reduction division which reduces the number of chromosomes to half in gametes. Moreover, a process called crossing over helps to create variation in the next generation. It involves two consecutive divisions, meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. As a result, four daughter cells are produced, each having half number of the chromosomes as compared to parent cells. Meiosis 1 prophase 1 chromosomes affair is thick threads due to tight coiling of DNA, as there are two of each type identical chromosomes pair with each other. These chromosomes exchange segments. This process is called crossing over, which result in variation in offspring. Metaphase 1 pair of chromosomes arrange themselves in the center of the cell. Anaphase 1 pair chromosomes separate and move to opposite pole. Each pole receives one member of all chromosomal pairs, half chromosomes compared to parent cell. Telophase 1 nuclear membrane is formed around the chromosome at each fold. These two daughter cells with half chromosomes are formed from each of which divide again by meiosis 2. Meiosis 2, two daughter cells formed after meiosis 1 divide again. This process of meiosis is just like mitosis. Final four daughter cells are produced, each having half number of the chromosomes as compared to parent cell. End of the unit number 3. Number 4, biotechnology. The application of modern techniques in fields like engineering and medicine is called technology. Biotechnology includes a broad range of technology that employ living organisms or parts of them to make diverse products. For example, drugs, natural compounds, environment-friendly chemicals, and biofuels can be produced through biotechnology. Biotechnology in the field of food and agriculture. The increasing human population needs higher yield of milk, meat, cereal, fruits, vegetables, etc. Biotechnology has helped farmers to improve quality of their animals and crops in many aspects. Genetically modified animals are producing more milk and meat, fruits, and vegetables with better quality and improved shelf lives. Leaves are also being produced on large scale. Major scale staple crops are often deficient and some of the nutrients acquired in human diet. Thus, mineral deficiency diseases are widespread, especially in poor population across the globe. Iron deficiency anemia has severe consequences for human health, working ability, and quality of life. Rice is one of the most important staple food for a large part of the world's population. Therefore, biotechnology efforts have targeted at increasing iron content in the rice grain by fortification of wheat and close new varieties of wheat with higher iron and zinc content in wheat grain. As obesity rates climb to epidemic levels, biotechnology is helping to create a new generation of healthier oils from soybeans, canola, and sunflower. These oils are free of such fats that can raise cholesterol and contribute to heart disease. In some cases, biotechnology can improve food by removing allergens. Children with food allergies are particularly vulnerable to effects of allergens. Biotechnology scientists are working to isolate the specific proteins that trigger allergic reactions and modify the foods so as to eliminate the health risk. Fermented foods can Fermented foods. Can you list some fermented foods commonly used at home? Although biotechnology is a new discipline, human began using microorganisms as early as 4000 BC for making wine, jar, cheese, yogurt. Preparation of traditional fermented food is more complex and time consuming. With the rapid progress in the biological sciences, it has been possible to gain better understanding of the way microorganisms perform fermenting foods. The types of microorganisms involved have been isolated, identified, and their physiology and metabolism have been studied. Hence, traditional fermented foods can now be made better, faster, and more economical. Fermented foods can be obtained from milk, yogurt, cheese, kefir, fruits, wine, jar, cider, vegetables, pickle, kimchi, legumes, soy, and meat, sausage, pepperoni, salami. The targeted alteration of the genetic material of the yeast and bacteria used in fermentation has improved their fermentative qualities. Modern baking process takes advantage of improved cereal grains and use of specific enzymes from yeast. Biotechnology is useful in the isolation and production of enzymes used directly in food processing. For example, the enzymes amylase affect the texture and freshness of the bread drought. GMO yogurt is produced by GM lactic acid bacteria. These bacteria are very beneficial for health and digestive system. Many lifelong digestive diseases can be easily treated by consuming this yogurt daily. GMO cheese is produced by using an enzyme chymosin required as a clotting agent. This enzyme was traditionally obtained from the fourth stomach lining of young calves. The ways biotechnology is helping to solve food-related issues human include fast-growing plants and animal diseases, drought-resisting food crops, increased supply of food with reduced cost and longer shelf life. Most nutritious food tastier food. Biotechnology and medicine. Do you know someone who has diabetes? Have you heard that many diabetes patients need insulin injection daily? Insulin is a hormone deficient in diabetes patients. Earlier, it was very difficult to obtain insulin from the blood of many slaughtered animals. In 1982, a human with gene of insulin became available to control blood glucose level. This insulin was produced by inserting human insulin gene and bacteria. This drug is still saving lives today, and in next few years may bring inhibit forms of insulin, other hormones being produced through this time machine, which can be useful brain and cancer. Vaccination is considered to be the most effective method for disease prevention and control. Hepatitis B and coronavirus 19 vaccines are produced using biotechnology method. The ways biotechnology will help human health issues include diagnosis of diseases in short time, development of appropriate medicines, more accurate method of determining correct drugs, medicines, improvements in drug discovery, better vaccines, and gene therapy. Applications of biotechnology. Scientists have found the ways to use biotechnology which will ultimately change the way we live. Biotechnology is already contributing to solve issues related to food, agriculture, medicine, environment. Here are some achievements of biotechnology. Foods produced by the use of microorganisms are more nutritious as they contain essential nutrients like vitamins and mineral. Foods produced by fermentation process have better taste and quality and have longer storage life. More yield of milk, eggs, and meat have become possible by using modern techniques. Crops resistant to disease and harmful insects are being cultivated in the most part of the world as it is helping to solve the food shortage problem of increasing human population. Many vaccines are in use to prevent infections. Human hormones like insulin and human growth hormones are produced by genetically modified or microorganisms. Fuels like biodiesel and ethanol are helping reduce the use of fossil fuels to avoid toxic chemicals. Microorganisms are now being used to produce textile dyes. Biodegradable plastics are decomposed by bacteria and fungi, so these plastics do not cause pollution. Modified microorganisms are more efficient in removing waste from the environment. Some microorganisms are in use to remove toxic waste from the environment.